Kitchen. Today we're going to make a hummingbird cake. Now this recipe was submitted to Southern Living magazine by Mrs. L.H. Wiggins in the 1950s, and it was one of their most popular recipes ever. And as the decades went on, people actually didn't even know who Mrs. L.H. Wiggins was, and they actually did a search and they tracked her down, and now we can all thank her for this wonderful recipe. So we're going to start off with our flour and sugar, cinnamon, salt, baking soda. We're going to use a can of crushed pineapple. We have our bananas, and you can see there are lots of brown spots. I've been ripening these to get them to the right point. Chopped pecans, vanilla, eggs, canola. We're going to get everything mise en place, and we'll show you how to make it. Here are our pecans, and I've spread them out on a baking tray, and we have nothing underneath. We don't need any parchment or silpat. We're just going to put this in the 300-degree oven for 9 minutes and toast it. And when we do that, it brings out the flavor of the pecans really, really well. It smells wonderful. Here we have all of our mise en place ready, and this is a very simple cake to make. We're just going to mix together our dry ingredients, and then we're going to mix together all of our wet ingredients. That was our salt, our 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and our 2 cups of granulated sugar, which is 14 ounces. We're just going to stir that together, and now we're going to whisk together our wet ingredients. So that is our 1.5 cups of canola oil, our 3 eggs. We're going to add in our 2 cups of bananas, which is 17 1/3 ounces. And that was our nicely speckled brown ripened bananas. Our 8-ounce can of crushed pineapple with the juice. And then I'm going to have to measure in our 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. We're going to mix this all together, and I'm going to use a whisk. We've got the vanilla in there. All right, we have all of our wet ingredients mixed together, and now we're going to fold in our dry ingredients. And you're going to fold it in. The way to fold it in is to start at the top of the bowl, which is 12 o'clock, and pretend this is a clock, and then take your whisk down to 6 o'clock and flip it over. So you just keep repeating that action until all of the ingredients are incorporated. And when you notice that most of the flour has been incorporated, that's when you can add in your toasted pecans. And when you do that, we're going to switch from the whisk to the spatula. Otherwise the nuts get stuck inside. And so we're going to just sprinkle those on. And again, we're going to do that folding action, 12 to 6, flip it up and turn it over, and continue to do that until all the ingredients are incorporated. Now we're going to get our cake pan ready. So we're going to spray it with some non-stick spray, the bottom and the sides, and we're going to line it with a piece of parchment paper. So I have a nice big sheet of parchment paper. I'm just going to cut it in half first. I just fold it in half, and with my paring knife, just split it. Later. And now what you do is you just fold that in half again, lengthwise, then you fold it widthwise. That later. Approximate the center, and then this is where you need to cut. And then that way you have a parchment paper lining for your cake pan. It's important to use parchment paper because it helps get the cake out of the pan when it's finished baking. It removes it easily. Otherwise, when you're trying to unmold the cake, it could break. So always put parchment. And we're going to bake this at a 300-degree oven. Pour it in our batter. We want to fill the cake pan about 2/3 of the way up. little trick. If you spread it up the sides of the pan, that'll help it to bake evenly. Instead of having a big dome in the center, it'll rise evenly. We're gonna put this into our oven. I always like to put it on a sheet pan as well. Here's our beautiful hummingbird cake, fresh out of the oven. It springs back from the touch, and when you put the tip of a paring knife into the center, it should come out clean. So there's no batter on it. That means it is ready. So now we're gonna let that cool. And I also had some batter left over, so I had enough to make a dozen muffins. And I'm gonna turn the oven up to 350 to bake the muffins. When I baked the cake, I had it at 300 and it was in for about 50 minutes. For more recipe demonstrations, please click like and subscribe to Chef Victoria Loves YouTube channel and have fun in the kitchen. Thank you.